Hello, welcome to this first YouTube video. Bit of an experiment, never done it before. Done lots on Twitch and social media, but I thought I'd give this a go. Got the channel, let's do some stuff. So bear with me, this is completely an experiment and I will see how it goes. Today, for my very first thing, and to keep it vanilla and nice and simple, I'm going to be doing an unboxing. These guys, British and Canadian bolt action set. Looking at it, it's a second edition set, so it's not even the new one. But I'm going to give it a go. So this is a complete trial for me. So yeah, I shall make some mistakes and see what happens. Hopefully, folks will like it, and I'll do the traditional. Make sure you like and subscribe. But that must work. You can also find us on social media. I'm pretty much everywhere. PaintsDB on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, Facebook, here, and Twitch. Stream regularly on Twitch, usually once or twice a week, painting historical miniatures and all sorts of things, just general chit chat. So yeah, hopefully this will be the first of many, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Please bear with us, the broad Suffolk accent and the yeah, rather quirky presentation style. But anyway, thanks for joining. Let's crack on with it. Take care. Right, so let's get this opened. Let's get the cellophane off. I got this set in exchange for painting a load of US airborne. You may have seen them on my socials. It was a commission I did, a US airborne starter set. So I generally do for friends and things a box for a box. So this is the box that I got in exchange. So cellophane off. Let's see what we get, or got, being the older set. The traditional pile of plastic. It's one of the old packing slips. Now there should be, where is the little, there it is, right at the bottom. Lots of stuff. So let's get the bits out. So we have the traditional instructions for the infantry, layout of the sprue, who does what, where they go, pretty standard things, bit of a painting guide as well, for British and Canadians. So yep, I would like to say fairly straightforward enough, but anybody who's built bolt action stuff before, putting on the separate arms and working out what goes with what can be awkward. Although looking at this, there are some that are preset, so that will make assembly a lot easier. They certainly, actually looking at this, look easier than the Soviet set that I've put together, which has some rather horrific arms and things in it. But anyway, let's see what I've got. 2-inch mortar, that's interesting, so you can have a light mortar. Here, so you've got some anti-tank capability. I can see a Bren. Let's find one of the sprues. Here we go. So how many of these have we got? One, two, three, four, five, six. And what do we got? 6 on each. Nice range of heads. The Tam O'Shanter for the Scots, helmets. In fact, that looks like the D-Day helmets, the sort of turtle shell helmets from memory, and the standard British Brodie style, not the Brodie style helmet, but they're that kind of, the traditional British helmet. Piat carrier, yeah, 2-inch mortar. Oh, they're carrying it, so that's all right. There look to be some interesting options on there. Rifles, Stens, rifles, Bren. Pickaxe should you need one. You always need a pickaxe. Where's the infantry shovel? There you go. You can't be infantry without an infantry shovel. So yeah, the standard sort of poses from Warlord, kneeling, and a running guy. Whether I'm alone in this or not, I don't know. I don't like the running poses. They put them on every sprue. I understand the action shots and whatever else. I prefer my dudes stood, but that's just personal preference. Yeah, there look to be some interesting combinations there. The large packs, small packs, I'm going to say, with the obligatory tin mug. Got to get a brew on, certainly if you're British or Commonwealth. Yeah, small pickaxe shoved in there. Plenty of ammunition bandoliers. They look all right, actually. I'm happy enough with them. Spare helmets that you can have dotted about. That's actually interesting. The heads are bare and you can position the helmets. Obviously, if you see lots of pictures of the British World War II, the helmets are often at a jaunty angle, tipped back slightly. So interesting. I look forward to doing those. There is also, let's move this out of the way, a universal carrier. Very simple sort of kit. That's it. Tiny little thing. Now, let's get this out of the bag. This is plenty of plastic in this, polythene. Tiny little thing. I do like a universal carrier. Now, this has British crew. Now, I wouldn't know whether I would build this as a British universal carrier or build it for my Soviets. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do with this whole set. Whether to put it together and keep it as a British force, or whether to put it together, paint it and stick it on eBay. I'm undecided. But either way, I suppose you could keep the Bren carrier and use that as the tow. There is an anti-tank gun in here we'll come to soon, a 6-pounder. Again, nice kit. These are simple. They're not a traditional sort of Airfix or Hesse Gower or whatever model kit with plenty of detail. They are reasonably basic, but enough detail. They're a good gaming piece. It looks fairly straightforward enough. I recall making a Tamiya version of this, a 1/35th version many years ago, and I put these bogies on the wrong way round, which didn't really help. But these are fixed, so it makes assembly a lot easier. Again, the instructions. Yeah, anybody who would have seen these are being built, and they've been out for a long time now. The two lounging, relaxing dudes in the back of the carrier. I suspect you wouldn't be lounging that much because they're a little bit bouncy, and there's not exactly much in the way of seat belts and restraints in them. But yeah, interesting looking little kit. A classic bit of British equipment. I believe they're very nimble in the game, having looked at the rules. So something interesting there. And this is the one. This is the interesting one. This is the one I like. The Churchill. You get a Churchill infantry tank. Let's get him out of the bag. That's a sealed bag. A couple of the bits have come off the frame there. I suppose that's one handy thing with having it in the bag. There you go. There's a couple of bits there. Let's pop that back in here. So I've got that. Whatever they are. Yeah, not too sure, but I'll keep those separate. So, 3 frames for the Churchill. Again, standard sort of 2 turret options. I would say that looks like you've got the support. Is that the 3-inch howitzer perhaps? Option. The 6-pounder, probably the 2-pounder, knowing it being a Churchill. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what you can build. So here we go. So you have, you've got lots. Welded turret for the Mark III and Mark VI, and prototype Mark V CS. Nice. CS, I'm presuming that's close support. Mark III, Mark 6A welded turret. It's produced by Italeri. They know what they're doing when it comes to making model kits. You can do the Avery. Armoured Vehicle Royal Engineers from memory, with the spigot mortar on the front. That will upset somebody's day. It is the close support, so that will be the 3-inch howitzer, I believe. Don't quote me, I'm not necessarily a tank expert. But I'm presuming you'll have a 6-pounder, looking at the muzzle brake on that. Possibly a 2-pounder. I know they had 2-pounder. I'm not sure if they ever got anything bigger than the 6. But anyway, you've got plenty of options there. Something to look into. Now, again, with this, I'm not sure whether I would build it as a British Churchill or as a Lend-Lease one for the Soviets. So I've got a large Soviet force, and yeah, having some Lend-Lease vehicles and that. I don't know. I don't know. But this is something interesting. Having the options for turrets, that is interesting. Certainly at least 2 of them you can put together. Yeah, gotta love a Churchill tank. I'm not sure how they play in Bolt Action 3rd edition, but it'll be a big heavy tank, so yeah, fairly expensive on points, I imagine. I'm not a huge fan of armour in Bolt Action, but there, a nice kit in there to have to support your infantry. You can tell it's a 2nd edition kit. You get the cards in there as well, which I think they've dropped for 3rd edition. What have we got here? Yeah, you've got the various marks. An earlier Churchill with a 2-pounder, yep. A later one, which will probably have a medium anti-tank gun, so that's going to be something like the 6-pounder with a 95mm howitzer. So that's the close support version, and that's the Avery, the Engineers, with the spigot mortar. Nice. What have we got left in here? We have, now this looks like 6-pounder with a MDF base. Standard, let's just move that out of the way. Standard sort of anti-tank gun. Metal parts, trails, gun shield, axle, wheels, 3 crew, and some usual dynamic poses. I thought this guy was sticking his finger up, but it's the bit of flash there. So you'll have a gunner, loader, gun commander, ammunition tube, spare ammunition sight, shield, sorry, guard. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a 6-pounder anti-tank gun. I like anti-tank guns in Bolt Action. I use 45mm guns for my Soviets. Not necessarily the best at taking out things, but they're damn good at putting pins on things. And I've certainly found that pinning armoured vehicles makes them, well, takes them out of action. They suffer horrifically from getting things done. What do we got next here? A Vickers and a 3-inch mortar. This means you can put together a support platoon with 2 heavy weapons. So that's interesting. Again, another packing slip. It's good that they're... I've had some newer kits, they don't do these anymore. Seems a shame, but there you go. So, 3 crew. Again, commander, loader, and the mortar. Just a standard medium mortar. And we should have the round base for that. And there'll be one in here in the box for the Vickers medium machine gun. So these 2, 1 of each, that makes up a 3rd edition support platoon, along with a command, which you'll be able to make out of the frames. So yeah, Vickers, that's interesting. Having put together a few Warlord medium machine guns, the Hungarian version, and oh god, the dude's head's on the side there. There you go. That's disconcerting. Yeah, the Hungarian one and the Soviet ones. That's nice. That makes a nice solid base. That will go on. There's your dude. Sat on an ammo box. Squeeze his arms together. Loader. And a dude with a compass. He's got 2 ammo cans on his back by the look of it. That's a shame. I like to swap the crew around. So for example, you've got this guy. I'll try and work out what he's holding. It may be a compass or something, I'm not sure. But, you know, you swap the anti-tank gun commander for the mortar commander. I don't know, it just mixes things up, I always think. So they don't all look the same as everybody else's. You've got the little hose for the cooling. I was thinking you've got a hole in that. Yeah, that'll be fiddly as hell to put together, but yeah, certainly interesting. Well, that's nice. I like those. That's an interesting platoon. Medium machine guns are fairly effective. I think I've got 3 for my Soviets. I can certainly put down a lot of fire. And 3 for my Hungarians as well. I'm a fan of those. Mortars, again, nice. I would perhaps put together a spotter for this. Out of the plastic frames, take one of the guys. You've got 36 infantry there. So you potentially got 3 10-man squads. I'm presuming the British can do 10-man squads. It will then give you 6 to enable you to have a platoon command, and then a few that you can create other bits and pieces, a couple of officers, a platoon officer for the not only the infantry but the heavy weapons teams here. That's plenty of options. Happy enough with that. What else got? There are 3 little bases. I'm not sure what they're in there for. There's nobody else. No metal officers or anything, so I'm presuming you may be able to use those for some of the crew for the support weapons. And then the obligatory, it's really useful, smoke for armoured vehicles when they're brewing up and whatnot. Large base for the anti-tank gun for the 6-pounder. Good old standard MDF. Bases. They are what they are. 5, 10, 50, 20, 25. So plenty of bases for the infantry. Slight puddle on them, which is useful for basing and things. Although I'm not a fan of basing. And then transfers. You've got plenty of transfers in here. A 3rd British Infantry Division. Universal Carrier. This is probably the Churchill, and the 3rd Canadian Division. What's interesting, what I do like, again, I wouldn't want to spend too much time trying to put it in. Let me just get some here, I've got some scissors. Red Cross armbands and an MP armband. So you can actually create a medic out of one of the plastic troops. There are plenty of bags and things on there. You can create a first aid bag. I've actually got some Red Cross transfers, some decals and things that I could stick on a bag to create a medic. Not that medics are great in bolt action, but they are useful, and they're just a nice thematic little bit to have. You can create a couple of MPs, because everybody loves the military police. Yeah. Rank slides and shoulder titles. Now, as an older gentleman who wears glasses every now and again and needs magnifying glasses to paint, they look like an absolute nightmare to put on. But hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. When I come around to painting them, it'd be good to use all these. I suspect if I'm going to do them, I will be doing them as British. Being an English guy, a British guy, that's where I would be. Not saying there's anything wrong with the Canadians, because they're damn good soldiers today and back then. So yeah, Universal Carrier. What do we got? Various desert ones. Ooh, Highland Division HD. Oh God, dear. It's the Desert Jerboa. Various numbers. Yeah. I forget which armored division. Anyway, I'm digressing and waffling now. It's yeah, interesting. You use them for whatever. Same with the Churchill. Yeah, the good old red, white, red. Various numbers, unit marks. I'll have to work out which each of these is, and which one I would go for. Unless, of course, I do it for it as a Soviet one, in which case it'll just be a nice green colour with potentially a slogan or a red star on it. I do actually have a Soviet crewwoman from Bad Squidder that I could use as the crew commander for that. but anyway, we will see. And that is pretty much it. That's what we get in the box. That's what we've got. I'm happy enough with that. I think that was a worthwhile swap for painting up a load of US Airborne. If you want to see pictures of those, they're all over my socials, as I mentioned at the start of the video. PaintsDB on pretty much everything. I hope you enjoyed that. So I'm going to see how I go with this. So this is the first time doing anything on YouTube, first time recording anything. So I thought I'd go for a nice simple unboxing. Let's lob it all back in, and that'll be ready for snipping out and assembling. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed that. And I will catch you all on the next one.